Americans faithfully watched the Brady Bunch every Friday night for 5 years in the 70s. The Bradys were the perfect all-American family that we all wanted to be a part of. But what really happened behind the scenes of the Brady Bunch, I bet you didn't know that those innocent kids, Marcia, Greg, Jan, Peter, Cindy, and Bobby, were kind of like having romances with each other once the camera stopped rolling. And Mom, Carol Brady, played by Florence Henderson, was no exception. She had a date with her TV son, Greg, played by Barry Williams. Now, they have never talked about that supposedly hot date in public before. Guess what? Florence Henderson and Barry Williams are both here today. We're going to get all the details of that rendezvous in just a minute. And we're also going to catch up with the stars of another one of your favorite TV shows from the 80s, The Facts of Life. You remember that was the show about these fun-loving girls who lived together in a boarding school with Mrs. Garrett. Well, Charlotte Rae, who played Mrs. Garrett, is here today, along with Lisa Whelchel, who played Blair. She's all grown up now. She's the mother of two, and she has one in the oven. And I'm very excited about this. Family Affair, remember that? That was on back in the 1960s. And people would watch every week just to see what Buffy and Jody and Sissy and Uncle Bill and Mr. French were up to. It's now been 20 years since that show ended, and Jody and Sissy haven't seen each other since then. Today, for the first time, we're going to reunite them on our show, and that's coming up a bit later. First, where's my book? There's a new book out called Growing Up Brady, written by Barry Williams, who played Greg Brady. He was the teen heartthrob from the Brady Bunch. Barry has visited with us before, and it's a pleasure to introduce him back again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Barry Williams.
Thank you. What a nice group you have here today.
Weren't you dying to know what he looked like when he grew up? Yeah. I think most child stars would probably want to go ahead with their career and their lives, and the past is a nice memory, and they don't want you constantly asking them questions about it. We were on page 3. Why are we on page... Would you believe that? No, I wasn't part of that, but why are we there?
Well, you may remember, let me take you back a couple of years to, I think it was spring of 1990.
Yeah.
The networks, CBS had decided that we were going to do a reunion series called The Bradys. When we were all grown up, I'd become a doctor and etc. We all had our new vocations. So we came down to Florida to visit you and your show. And very unusual, we were outside in a beautiful parking lot right down in downtown Miami. And what happens while we're up on the dais talking and sharing our experiences, but the sky opens up and a downpour starts. There are 4,000 people out in the audience, and you're talking with the microphone about ready to short out.
Yeah, there I am in short hair.
Yes, there you are, in that beautiful
Now, it doesn't look like it's pouring, but right now, it really was raining.
Look at the umbrellas in the background.
Yeah, and people were saying, how come you had umbrellas there? You couldn't tell, and that suit was shrinking on me. I don't know, it started out in 8 and it went to a 6. You had a mustache then.
Yes, I did. Chris Knight is wearing snakeskin boots up to here that are like over the ankles in water, and I turned over to Florence Henderson and looked at her, and she had mascara running down
me too.
the side of her cheek.
Me too. Standing there, and I said, oh, please don't let it show on camera. How's it not going to show all this?
The point of it is that we had all those fans out there watching, and it got so bad that we had to stop taping and go back into the trailers and dry off and start over again. So we thought certainly there wouldn't be an audience left, and 20 minutes later we came out after the deluge.
Right.
And here are these same people still in the audience waiting for us to come back and tell our stories.
And they just sat there through the rain.
They sat through the whole thing, and I thought, I was really touched. And so I thought, all these people had been, in a sense, denied the real stories that came up while we were growing up. And that's why you're in the book and why I wrote it.
What happened in the plane ride home?
Well, also, our real life personalities don't always match our characters, and on the way back, we were all kind of sharing our experiences. Some of us hadn't seen each other in years, and we were going back over the times that Bobby, Michael Lookinland, and Cindy, Susan Olsen, had a mock wedding, because they were infatuated with each other, and they sort of consummated, only as 8-year-olds can do in Tiger's doghouse. And going through all these experiences that we had had, some that had been forgotten about and some that were being rekindled. And she was throwing back shots of Jack Daniels, and he was throwing back shots of Jim Beam. Here Bobby and Cindy going, oh yeah, I used to have a biggest crush on you. You were just terrific. Well, I love you too. So. And the poor stewardess is going, please, you know, you're going to have to maintain yourself.
That is the Brady Bunch back there,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Tell me about the romances, because I think that's the thing that people are very interested in. What are the
I guess so. Why everybody is interested
sorry, but everyone
in our little dalliances, I have no idea. But I did include them. At one point or another, we all paired up with our respective siblings, if you will. Cindy and Bobby, and Greg and Marcia, and Eve and Jan, at different stages throughout the years. And it was always kind of on again and off again. And one of the things that happened was we had all these authority figures around us, you know, telling us to not do that, you know, stay away from. So it was kind of always a little bit strained, if you will. But certainly...
forbidden. Number one, it's incest. Even
yes.
if it is television.
Well, we never
incest.
made out on the show.
Oh.
This is always off stage. But the funny thing is, I had never watched many of the episodes that we'd done until I started writing this book. And I look back and I think, my gosh, my character, Greg, he's flirting with Marcia right on the screen. Didn't anybody see that? And there's always that kind of underlying...
But you see,
thing.
you know it, but obviously the people did not see it.
I don't know. People, maybe not them. People tell me now that they can. The
kids were making out in Tiger's doghouse?
Yes.
Between takes?
Between takes. Well, Tiger wasn't in there. I didn't make that clear.
It was very crowded.
No.
And the beach?
And that was in Hawaii. We had gone there to film my favorite episodes, more because of where we were than how they turned out. But one day after a long day of filming, we were all sent to our rooms to get plenty of rest for the next day. And I looked at Maureen and I said, let's hit the beach. And it was one of those, sounds silly, but it was one of those tropical, warm, breezy, full moon romantic nights, and we took a walk down the beach around Diamond Head, and I said, I kind of looked at her, and I did what I've been dying to do for like a year and a half, and I gave her a kiss. And it was like fabulous. And it turns out, and I didn't know this until much later, that was her very first kiss.
Aww,
isn't that nice?
Yeah.
It's like a Brady episode right here.
There was a thing where you said, I smoked pot. And what were you smoking, and then they called you in, and you didn't thought you were going to be, because you're too much a pro to smoke knowing you're going to do a scene.
This is not something I'm particularly proud of, but I included it because I wanted to talk about all of the ramifications of what it's like and the pressures of being a teenage personality, or famous, if you will, and trying to experiment and do different things. I was on what was supposed to be a day off.
Ah, that's what I would think.
But they call it, that's on hold, which means if they do call you in, you have to be available, but you don't have to actually go down to the studio. And a group of friends of mine were sitting around, and somebody pulled out a joint and said, you know, well, let's give this a try. And I thought, yeah, all right, it sounds like fun, you know, all my friends in the 60s, 70s. And so we got blasted. And the phone rings about 20 minutes later. And I'm thinking, wow, that's far out. Look at that thing, like ringing. Yeah? Hello? No. Who? Assistant director of what? When? And I had to be on the set about an hour and a half later, and was still high. And we did this scene. Unfortunately, I didn't have very much to do in it, and it started with me kind of working on my bicycle tire, and then Mom and Dad drive in, and I cross over, and I got to the set, and I was thinking, okay, this is my chance to totally recreate the role of Greg Brady. Said up until now, he's been a little bit of a square, a little bit predictable. It's a little too goody-goody for me. So I get down in front of my bicycle wheel, and I'm forming a relationship with each spoke. And I've got a whole history for the bicycle, where it came from and why the tire had been popped. And I'm going off on all these tangents and feeling very cool and thinking I'm doing very wonderful work. Florence Henderson is looking at me like I just dropped out of outer space. And the crew is starting to go, oh, well, gee, what's going on here? And I'm thinking, don't worry, it's all under control. Got it covered. Up until the time that the director called for it quiet because we were about ready to get started. At which point he comes over to me and lays a very heavy hand on my shoulder and he says, Barry, interesting work. He says, but tell you what, instead of doing all of what you were doing and improvising, he says, you say your lines as written, you go hit your marks and do it and play it straight. So I said, hey, guy's out of his mind. He's trying to stifle my creativity. So I went back over to the bicycle, red light comes on, quiet on the set, take one, action, and I didn't know where I was.
Yeah.
What I found out right in that instant was that for me, one of the side effects of this cannabis is paranoia. And I started questioning everything. Gee, maybe I was making a fool out of myself, maybe people knew, maybe I shouldn't be here. And I tried to do the most straight, conservative performance I could possibly muster.
Have you seen the performance?
Yes.
And did you know you're high, but did anybody else?
No, I don't think they knew I was high, but I think they did wonder. It was so silly because I was down at the bicycle and then I would pretend not to notice that they came in and then I would act surprised and then I tripped over the bicycle tire on the way over to the scene, forgot that I tripped over it. Oh, it was just horrible. It was just terrible.
One of the funniest scenes was when you went to, there was a drive-in movie and you had a date, right? And your brothers had left something in the back seat that would make that night a date from hell. Let's take a look at this.
Okay.
How did you get... the frog to land in the top of the girl's head, or
they were good aims.
Oh, now come on! How did they do that?
Did you notice how big those frogs are? They're specially imported. Gee, I hate to take away from the magic of television, but we had a prop man up there, Irving, one of the two Sunshine Sisters on our show, and he held this thing above her head out of camera range, and when the time came, he released it. An interesting footnote. It didn't actually do anything on her head except just slime around.
No!
Now, interesting footnote, that is Rachel is played by Hope Sherwood, who was the producer's daughter, Sherwood Schwartz's daughter.
And she got the big romantic scene with you.
Yeah, I'd like to know how she auditioned for that role, though. I'm great with a frog on my head, Dad.
You admit in your book that you had a huge crush on your own mother. Mother in the show is Carol, played by Florence Henderson. And in fact, in real life, you took her out on a date. And Florence is going to be up next to tell us once and for all what happened the night the two of them went out. When we come back, don't go away.
Morning, Carol. Morning, Mike.
Now look, Greg. Calling your parents by their first names may be the fad these days, but around here, we are still Mom and Dad to you.
Oh, I just figured you and Mom wouldn't want someone as old as I am calling you Mom and Dad.
Oh, well, that's really very considerate of you, Greg.
Yes, but we'll take a chance on the infirmity of the time.
Tonight, it's
Television kids all grown up today. The Brady Bunch ran for 5 years, from 1969 to 1974. Today it is in syndication around the world, so most likely 24 hours a day, the Brady Bunch is playing somewhere in the world. Now, Barry, in your book, you said, while you were on the show, you were attracted to Florence Henderson, who played your mom, Carol. In fact, you were so attracted to her that you eventually asked her out on a date. We want to know what happened on that date, don't we? Yeah. Okay, we're going to bring Mom out. Please welcome Florence Henderson. Florence Henderson without thinking about her being soaking wet and our last visit together in the rain in Florida.
Yes, and you know, Sally, can I just say about that? When we got on that plane, you talked about the plane ride. Well, you know how wet we were. We all went in that little trailer. You put us in that little trailer, and Susan Olsen and Eve Plum said, "There's a gas leak in here. It's terrible. It's a terrible smell. Maybe we're going to blow up or something." And I went, "No, it's my perm." Boy, did I stink.
You know, I think that the actors, the young actors, kids on the Brady Bunch were very, very lucky to be able to work with a seasoned pro like Florence Henderson. Okay, let's go right to it. Barry, set this up for us. How did your date come about?
Well, first
and
of all,
when did you notice you were first attracted?
Well, can I just say one thing in defense of my son? He didn't inhale.
Just an experiment.
Had to say it.
We make a cute couple, I think. Now listen, if you...
Yeah, and now you're beginning to look older than I do, so I think it's great.
I'm telling you, you take the apron off this woman and take away the image of the of America's best mom, and what you have is one very, very healthy, sexy lady.
Right.
And
Wow.
this did not escape my 15-year-old attention. So I had said, I'd asked her out. She's a singer. I knew that I had wanted to, at some point, sing myself. And I didn't know where I would go, but I decided on this ultra-swanky club in Los Angeles called the Coconut Grove. There was a singer coming in, some Mediterranean crooner.
Rougon.
Yeah. And I asked her to go, if she would come with me to the show, and she graciously said yes. And that's how it started.
This is while the show's running, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The show's very
Mom
much...
and son are dating. You don't think...
I was not yet 16 years old.
And I was commuting from New York to L.A., so that's why I was there alone without my husband and my 4 children. And the problem was that Barry could not drive. Now, you know, it's kind of like Rashomon, you know, how people remember stories differently from their own viewpoint. His brother, as I recall, Craig, drove him to my hotel in his car.
That's right.
And then I drove us to our date at the Coconut Grove. That's how I remembered it. That's close?
I don't remember that part of it. I remember driving his car.
Do you?
Oh, yes, because I had to learn how to drive his car because it was one of those muscle-bound Formula 400 Firebirds, and it had this ridiculous clutch, and it was impossible, really difficult for me to drive, and I wanted to be the big man of the day.
Well, Barry, at that age, you know, when he talked about tripping, Barry had feet, I swear. He was always tripping over his feet. He was clumsy, but he was the cutest kid that I think I have ever seen.
Did he kiss you goodnight?
Did he kiss me goodnight? Did he kiss me goodnight? I'll just tell you. Did he? Yes. But Sally, I think this book really could be subtitled Barry's Raging Hormones. That's kind of what it's about.
See, the question, Sally, you didn't ask is, did I kiss her again in the morning? All right, I'm sorry, I won't talk about it.
Barry is still having raging hormones,
Yeah.
right?
You know, the interesting thing about this story, and it's made the world press, people would love to believe that Barry and I had sex. That's what people would love to believe, honestly. And they get so disappointed when I say no. And they, oh, well, of course you, oh, you did, of course you did. And I said, look, hey, I'm not Roseanne. I don't do all these crazy things. I don't talk about my life, you know, in public. Let's say even if I did that.
You wouldn't talk about it.
Why would I talk about
I agree.
it? You know, I mean, how stupid.
I wasn't disappointed. I'm so naive that I just loved the idea you went out on a date.
Well, and that's exactly what it was. And it was so much fun to watch this kid trying to, you know, we didn't get a good table because the maitre d' didn't recognize us right off. And poor Barry felt so badly. And I said, well, maybe if you go up, if you give him a couple of bucks or something. You know, I'm trying to, and...
Which she suggested. I had no idea. I said, of course, tip the man. Give him some money, grease his palm. Like I'd watched it on James Bond movies. But the thing, I had no idea how much to give this guy to get a good table, but I didn't want to take any chances. Most I'd ever given anybody was $1 to park a car. So I took out 3 $1 bills, thinking this would for sure do it. And I handed this guy the $3, he counted it, and he looked at me, and I don't know if he was just being nice or had finally recognized her, but he said, come with me, and we traipsed back down through the coconut grove, had a beautiful table. Of course, people were now starting to wonder why this woman was with this young man, why Carol was dating Greg, but...
Did you know he was, I mean, there's that thing in the book about playing around with lollipops. Did you know that he was interested in you?
Playing around with lollipops.
Oh, she's referring to that, the network still pictures. We're given this ridiculous
First of all, people have to
lollipops.
understand, if you see me on television for years and years and years, I'm pretty much myself on television. When I'm not playing a character, I grew up in a very large family. I'm the youngest of 10. I grew up on a farm. I'm a rather earthy person, and anyone that knows me knows I love to tell stories, I love to tell jokes, and I love to make people laugh. And I have a sense of humor about sex and life and most things like that. So I'm just prefacing what I hope you're not going to tell.
He is. He's going to tell about the lollipops.
He is.
I think we're into it now. We had been given these, we were doing our still photos for the first year of the show, very young. We were all kind of meeting and getting to know each other. And some prop personality brought out these enormous lollipops. And we were kind of holding them and seeing what we could or could not do with them. And I said, look at this thing. It would take 10 hours to suck this thing down to nothing. And that's a long time to suck on anything. At which everyone went dead quiet. Here's a 14-year-old kid, like, making these jokes that were sort of out of line and out of bounds. And it was like this really long pause. And then she said, not for me, it isn't. And broke the ice, and I looked over, rescued, and we've been friends ever since.
We have been.
And you are earthy. That's absolutely right. We're going to allow you to ask, we're going to hope you ask them questions, and when we come back, they were the TV darlings of the 80s, those private school girls who asked for help from Mrs. Garrett on the show Facts of Life. Mrs. Garrett is Charlotte Ray, and she will be reunited with Lisa Whelchel, who played Blair. Don't go away. If you're just joining us, we're talking with your favorite TV sitcom child stars and their mothers from the 60s, 70s, and 80s who are now all grown up. Florence Henderson now does a cooking show, 7 years. And Barry is singing in City of Angels. I think he's the lead. Are you not the lead?
Yes, I play Detective Stone.
Starring.
The Facts of Life was one of America's favorite TV shows for 9 years, 1980, 1989. And we watched Blair, Joe, Natalie, and Tootie grow up and seek some sound advice from the house mother, Mrs. Garrett, while they were boarders at this private girls' school. Well, we have Mrs. Garrett and Blair. And what have they been up to all these years? Let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Charlotte Ray and Lisa Whelchel. I heard that you guys get together often to see each other. Are you still close?
Yes, we are. We feel very close. They were over at my house for lunch when I saw Tucker, that's Lisa's little boy. He's the most handsome little boy you ever saw, regular fella. And she had her little second child in the oven at the time. And
now we see each other, and I have the third child in the oven.
Yes, isn't that
so
wonderful?
You are married to
Steve Cobble. Just
all right.
Regular guy, works at a church in California, not an actor.
And you have 2 children and one.
Right.
I'm
one
assuming that's a maternity thing.
Yes.
Great, great, absolutely great. In the episodes, though, there was one where they wanted you to lose your virginity, and you said no.
Yes. I did. You know, so many of the young girls watched our show, and they really did listen to us. They looked up to us. They listened to Mrs. Garrett, and you know, I wasn't going to take that responsibility, because even if they said, well, we'll have a lot of people on there saying no, don't, you know, so much of television is just by, you know, just by example, and this is okay, and girls do this. It is condoning it, whether it's, you know, subliminal or not. And so I didn't want to, you know, that responsibility on my shoulders with so many young girls, because it does bring a lot of destruction, you know, to a lot of young girls, and that wasn't why I started acting in the first place.
Lisa, are you acting now?
No, I'm not.
You're mommy?
Just
the role is mommy?
Being a mom, it's full time.
Hooray for that! I just wanted to say that so many people seem so embarrassed when they say they want to be a housewife, they're just going to be a housewife and a mother. And I don't understand why they feel that way, because that's the most wonderful role in life. And I don't know why they should feel ashamed.
It was every intention was to go back to work. But now, especially that my son is 2, I'm realizing that I mean, if I want to instill in him the values that I think are important, then I have to do it every day, every hour, and not leave it up to somebody else to do it.
Values, Charlotte, you were also with the kids were on Facts of Life, and a lot of those kids got into trouble. What is the difference between the Facts of Life kids didn't get in trouble and the Different Strokes kids did? What was the difference?
Well, I'm just going to change the subject because it's too difficult to say, really.
No, I'm not.
They were wonderful boys. I was with them for about 1.5 years, and they were very young, and I had a wonderful relationship with them because I have 2 sons, and I felt like, well, we were just growing up all over again together. And I wasn't with them when they were in trouble and whatever was unfolding, so that I really can't participate in that. I really can't.
Sure. I was just asking because we had been discussing how an awful lot of the kids that grow up in the TV limelight get in trouble, and yet the ones you don't hear about are the ones that I guess are happily married to a minister. And
Sally, I would just like to say that in defense of television and child actors, I mean, I think our kids have turned out fairly well, but kids all over this country are in terrible trouble. A lot of them have been to jail. A lot of them have drug problems. They're not on television. We just don't hear about them. So, you know, I have to defend us just a little bit.
all right, when we come back, Sissy and Jody from the popular TV show Family Affair. They have not seen each other in over 20 years. Today, we're going to put them together, and if they hate each other, I'm in real trouble. We'll be right back. Union of sorts today with some of your favorite TV stars from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Barry Williams, who played Greg Brady, and Florence Henderson, who played his mother Carol on the Brady Bunch, are here. We have Brady Bunch memorabilia.
Oh, where did you get that?
Greg, these nice people brought us. There you are as a paper doll with your little... Your legs are quite nice.
Thank you. That's before I put my bell-bottoms on.
As a matter of fact. And when Florence sees this album cover, she's going to die. This is pre the Today Show, I think.
It was just about that time, actually.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And also with us is Lisa Whelchel, who played Blair, and Charlotte Ray, who played Mrs. Garrett on the long-running TV show Facts of Life. And here's an album cover. Charlotte Ray sings songs I Taught My Mother. And by the way, she was the original Mammy Yoakum on Little Abner on Broadway, but you guys know that because you're trivia people. She was in Car 54, Where Are You?, where she played Sylvia, and in Samuel Beckett's Happy Day, and I just found out in Pickwick. Now, let's go to 1966, 1971. Family Affair was one of the top-rated shows that families around the country watched to see what Buffy and Jody and Sissy and Mr. French and Uncle Bill were up to. It's been 20 years since the show ended, and Jody and Sissy have not seen each other since then. Uncle Bill, who was played by Brian Keith, went on to become a very big star, and unfortunately, Sebastian Cabot, who played Mr. French, and Anessa Jones, who played Buffy, have both passed on. Here to bring us up to date is the actress who played the sophisticated Sissy. Welcome, Kathy Carver. Your favorite episode?
Oh, after 5 years, I think one of the shows that I liked best was when I went to Vienna. Of course, going to Vienna on Family Affair was going to the back lot, because that's what we built. But I think it was one of the first episodes where I was really allowed to grow up and be a little bit more sophisticated. I was always punching for that in the show, and we weren't allowed too many times to be as old as we were or as sophisticated as we thought we were. So I think I like that the best.
Tell me about Jody. When was the last time you saw him?
I don't think I've seen Johnny in about 20 years. We kind of went different ways, and I think the last that I heard he was working, and he had a rock group or something.
We have a surprise. Jody is here. Please welcome Johnny Whitaker. 20 years is a long time between dates, right?
Grew a little taller.
Yeah, there's hair on my chest.
What have you been up to? I know because I met you in Atlanta, but for the rest, what's been going on?
Well, I've been working. Since we were together, I've been divorced. I was married, yeah, but that happens.
Wait,
she married the man who gave me my bachelor party.
Really?
But I can laugh about it now.
You were
Uncle Bill would not have allowed that.
No.
You're Mormon.
Yeah.
Right?
But
it must be very difficult.
Oh, it was, but that's for another show. When you have that on, I'll come on again. Okay. But I went to college. I graduated, and that's the last time that I saw Kathy. She was playing. You came to Salt Lake?
Oh, yes, I was doing Vanities.
Vanities.
I was doing a play.
And we went out to dinner, had a real nice time. I was going to college, and she was doing Vanities, because I was doing a play there as well. And then I graduated from college, have been working in the industry and out of the industry to make ends meet, to support myself. I have a computer consultation business that I do training and support of computer systems in different nice big companies and some individuals.
And things are good?
In the Los Angeles area, And I may be doing a film this summer, you know, so it's keeping busy all the time. And
you have had a baby?
I have. The most beautiful baby, of course, in the whole world. He's now 13 months old, and he walks, and he talks, and he plays the whistle and blows the harmonica.
Wow.
30 words, he says.
How many languages does he speak?
Czechoslovakian. English. We have a Czechoslovakian nanny.
Are you a full-time mom?
Oh, no. I produce a lot of children's audio cassettes. I've done 8 Beatrix Potter, and I've done Mother Goose, and I'm doing another real exciting project coming up with a famous children's author. I guest star on TV. I do a lot of voiceovers. I've done 3 animated series. Dixie's Diner's one of them, because she's a teenager. Hard to give up this teenage kind of voice and mentality. And a lot of voiceovers. Dixie's Diner, as I say, is going to become a series in the fall.
Oh, great.
Just the animation, and plus I'm waiting to do a live-action animation. Since I have my hand both in the animated pot and the live-action pot, we're going to mix it up and make up something special.
What really happened to Buffy? Do we know? Because we had been talking about the fact that there's good and bad in the industry.
I think that here was a little girl, very bright, nice girl. She always wanted to be like everybody else. She wanted to be one of the gang. And she was quite successful on the show, and she was flown here and there as Johnny was. She turned down the role in The Exorcist. I think what happened when she stopped the show and she got with a peer group that she could be one of them, they were all taking drugs. And she wanted to be like them. And unfortunately, that was their MO.
Now, I know because I had discussed this with you, but it really affected you tremendously, didn't it? What happened to you as a result of this?
Well, at that time, I had been doing a family variety show, the Johnny Whitaker Show, and I found out on a Good Morning talk show that Anissa had passed on, and it was a big shocker. I told my agent, Mary Grady, I didn't want anything else to do with the business. I wanted to get out, and she said, no, don't be so hasty. And I said, well, just keep things cool, because I'd been working since I was 6 until I was 16, those 10 years, and I just said, I need time to figure out what I want to do. And it was very difficult I mean, we were a family, you know. We haven't kept too close in the last 20 years, but you know, we were definitely a very close family. And when she did pass on, it was a very, very hard for me.
So you left the business for about 3 years, is that
Yeah,
right?
and then I went on a mission to Portugal as a Mormon missionary, and was knocking on doors with a little plaque there, you know, like they do on their bicycles through Portugal, and got myself back into figuring out what I wanted to do in life. And when I came back, I went into to college in production and motion picture television.
Charlotte, what's happening with you now?
Well, first of all, I'm a granny. All right. Thank you. That's the most wonderful thing in my life. Her name is Carly, as in Carly Simon. She just turned 5, and I just adore her. Anyway, I've done a lot of theater since. I did Into the Woods in L.A. We rehearsed in New York and played in L.A. And then I did Driving Miss Daisy for a full season in Chicago. That was great. And then I did that Beckett thing. And then I went and they asked me to do it in New York. And now I did a voice on for an animated thing, Aunt Fig. She's a meanie. She's a real
They're the most
meanie.
fun to play.
No.
Oh, they are.
Very. No. You know, that sort of thing. And I just did something, keep your fingers crossed, for a product in which I would be a granny, and it would be a wonderful thing. Just keep your fingers, say one little.
You're not allowed to
You
say
got it.
anything in show business. I thought you would, since we're bringing up.
Oh,
I thought you'd like to
What is
take a
that?
break and we'll be right back. Tim, is that the ephemera that I've been showing you comes from a brother and sister, Aaron and Don Smith, and they love the Brady Bunch, Facts of Life and Family Affair. They're such great fans that they have a magazine called Teenage Gang Debs that updates readers on the family sitcoms, and it has all this little trivia about the various shows. You say a show like the Brady Bunch deserves more respect. Why?
I think it's a really well-written show, and it's like a community thing that we all grew up with these episodes. In Washington, D.C., it was aired twice a day for years when I was a very young kid.
So it's a work of art, right?
It's like the perfect show. It has 6 kids, all different ages. You can relate to any of the kids, and the plots, I think, are really well-written and stand up really well today, I think.
Thank you for bringing all this stuff for us. Florence, I'm going to ask you what's going on in your life today.
Well, I would just like to say hi to my 4 wonderful children who make me think I'm a good mother. That pleases me. And my step-grandchild, LJ. But, as you mentioned, I do Country Kitchen on the Nashville Network. We're starting our 8th year. And also, I have a wonderful new product that I'm so thrilled about called Young Again. It's a skincare product, and you'll see it advertised on television, and there'll be a number you can call in and get it. And it really works.
Good enough.
Fabulous.
Question, sir.
Yeah. In the last couple of years, I was privileged to see Charlotte Rae starring off-Broadway and Barry Williams starring on Broadway. I wanted to ask them, do you prefer acting in front of a camera or in front of an audience?
I love it all. I mean, I love it all. The important thing is that God gave me a gift, and I try to work with it and make it better and better. And then what could be better than to share it, no matter what medium, right?
Take a break. We'll be right back. Okay.
on 10's documentary.
Tailor-made toothbrush. Now here's the lowdown.
Yes, because it bends, Colgate Flexible tailors itself to the shape.
Haven't any shame. Hey, I'm a famous Seamus, and most people don't know your name.
Barry is now touring with the national company of City of Angels. What happened to the dog Tiger?
He he wanted too much money and too many episodes. Simple. Fired him.
Tiger got squished on the way to work. He was hit by a truck, and the trainer came in with a dog that he picked up at the pound, and no one could understand why he wouldn't follow direction. So we ended up taking his collar and nailing the collar down to the set, and then putting him in the collar so he wouldn't move and we'd get the take.
My question's for Barry and Florence. Florence, when you were approached with this book, was it something that you were interested in doing, or you thought maybe I just want to leave the past alone and not bother with it? Or were you glad to do this?
Well, I'm always glad to help anyone. I hope this book is a big success for Barry. Like Barry, I feel so proud of the Brady Bunch, and you know, it's like having a favorite relative. It's a part of my past. I love it.
Florence, I just want to ask you, or comment rather, I've enjoyed your work in films, TV, commercials, but nothing's been said about that beautiful voice of yours that I don't hear enough of. Any plans for the future?
Well, I sing all the time. I travel around the country all the time. I do. Well, I love you. Well, excuse me.
You'll have to go to her. Go ahead. What's neat is the good news, the people who are doing well. Growing Up Brady, there you are. That's the reason we all got together, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Stay on 10 for all the glamour and excitement of Santa Barbara. Saturday night at 7:30, Jessica Fletcher is on the case again, trying to solve another baffling murder mystery. Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury. 7:30 Saturday night here on Channel 10.